What do you get if you combine the Pokemon anime with elements of the games as a adaptation? Well, there are a few things, but today we're going to talk about the most famous and best example of the video games doing an anime adaptation. Yes, we're talking about Pokemon Origins. To begin our Pokemon chat series for the next couple of months. Let's begin. Hey, welcome to Hobby Toku Anime, and for the next couple of months, we're going to talk about Pokemon until Pokemon Day, so we're just celebrating by just doing Pokemon. Got that? Good. Let's begin by explaining Pokemon Red and Blue's or Green anime adaptation Origins. Origins is a great series and basically based off the first games. We will get into the plot soon, but let's talk about one thing in differed before we do. It's weird because Pokemon anime was like the main focus for the canon for a lot of people. I say the games are canon for like the manga or games officially, but the anime doesn't do that as canon. It's just Ash doing the thing where the protagonists maybe do it weaker and patheticer and not good. I know in modern years, now that Ash is gone, we don't really need that, and it's more original storytelling, which is a good thing with Horizon, but it's still just that one time. I feel like Ash might come back in Gen 10, but I'm not sure, so yeah, I feel like Ash will come back in Gen 10, maybe, or replaced with a new cast. I feel like a new cast would be better to replace Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but back to the point. Pokemon in the games. The games are really cool and clever because really, the games are the birthplace of the franchise. It's not the card game or anime. The video game is so important. And let's talk about an anime adaptation of the video games. Let's begin. We start off in the first part of the anime with the introduction when you start new game in the original Pokemon, where Professor Oak's like, welcome to the world of Pokemon. And he throws out an Eevee to show, which is kind of different from the actual game, which was Rattata. But point is, we get to Red watching a battle that's based on the opening cutscene of Pokemon Red or Blue, like the intro screen. But in that intro screen, that would be later used in the anime. But this is like years after the anime and around the 15th anniversary. Yes, Pokemon Origins is technically a 15th anniversary project, but even if it's not really, it's around 20 years since the games were developed and about 15 years of the anime of the series, but it's technically 15th anniversary or early 20th gift, but it depends on how you look at it. It's kind of weird, but anyhow, point is, this anime is awesome, and now we get introduced to Red, voiced by the voice of Naruto in the Japanese version, and in the dub by freaking Kirito from Sword Art. Kind of a weird fit for both characters. I feel like the voice of Red is better with Sword Art, so watch the dub in this case. But point is, Red is kind of interested, decided to Professor Oak finally completed his project on the Pokedex. Need to fill it out and that. And he gets rivaled with Blue. Or Green, depending on which version, if this was the English or Japanese, because in Japan, Pokemon Blue was called Green. Then later on they did Blue, which is like a re-edit of Pokemon Blue, Green, but technically Blue and Red are the official versions of the everywhere else, but in Japan it was Green and Red. Got that? Good. So I'm just going to call him Blue or Green in between, or Gary, depending on how I feel. Let's begin. Basically, Blue's like, sell you later, gotta grab. And basically, he grabs, they get to their starters, which if you know Pokemon, say it with me now. Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle. And Red Chosen Charmander in this version, not like in the manga, which is like Bulbasaur, but Bulbasaur's not in this, so sorry. And he picks his starter is technically, and Blue's starter is technically Squirtle. They go on their adventure. They start. Red starts catching, and Red catches a lot. Sees the battle. He gets confused of not knowing it's a new Pokemon and catches it being the guy. He's like, you don't need to switch, throw your Pokeball into battles. You do this off screen, you moron. And basically, that Red and Blue battle, Red barely loses it because of type advantage, but in the games, they don't have type advantage affecting in the first battle, but due to their doing it later is kind of a good character development for the first episode. But that Ash goes down and sees Brock, and Brock's like, you need to train it to prove you're better, and it's like the gym, and then gets to the Pokemon Center. It's like he heals the party, battles Brock. Brock is so hard to beat because this Gen 1, so if you choose Charmander, you suck. But anyhow, point is, Ash Red battles Charmander, Geodude and Onyx. Onyx was hard to beat, but technically the battle's good. Kind of weird anime bullshit, but he wins officially, barely, by using Stealth Scream as a thing. And that's the end of the first episode. Episode 2 is about Cubone. Yes, the second episode's kind of weird by being focused on the Pokemon Tower subplot in the first game. Focusly, like, I liked it, but it kind of feels weird in my opinion, but let me explain. Between episodes 1 and 2, Red has gained freaking Charmander evolving, freaking fishing, battled first and third gym, getting the freaking TM, HM, and a fishing rod. And now we get to the plot of the episode. Basically, Red goes tower, finds a sanctuary, which is like where the breeding place is in the remakes, which is Fire Red, Leaf Green, but that's not the point. But the point is, basically, he kind of discovers there's a Cubone that lost mother. Turns out Team Rocket's battling again, and yes, Team Rocket were introduced in the beginning of the first episode with the Mount Nude phase, and this is like their third attempt in the plot in the games. But really, this is the second one they explain to. But anyhow, point is they do that. They battle. Red gains the goggles from Team Rocket in this version. Battles them. Turns out the ghost is Marowak. And Cubone is sad for his mother dead. Missing for a chance of great. But anyhow, finds out Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fuji gives him the flute for later. And also, I kid you not, the freaking a thing from the current games at the time, which I will explain at the end. But anyhow, point is, the second episode's kind of like padding. It's not bad. I just feel like this episode is kind of good for lore people. If you like the subplot of Pokemon dying in the lore, which kind of makes sense as a good character writing plot. Like, I love freaking Cubone being sad and depressed in the Pokemon Pikachu movie as the first real scene besides the introduction. Oh god, I love that. It's so funny. Even if you wear your dead relative like a person, Cubone, I accept your pain. Also, Michael's not here because they're off screen, because technically he doesn't exist yet. I don't know why we did this as a joke. I don't know what happened, but it's such a stupid reason why you don't see Michael in this video, because he's going to be taking over after this. Promise. Like, I promise you, my sidekick will be now VTuber sidekick. Might go his last hurrah before he becomes a real VTuber, officially by the plot of this show. But anyhow, that's why you're wondering why Michael's not interrupting me. Sorry about that. But anyhow, point is, episodes through to 1, 2 good. Next episode, we get to our second lap scene, and he finally gains meets Giovanni, the first two the fourth and fifth gym leaders. Do that. Maybe the sixth section as well. And after that, he battles Giovanni again. And this time we learned character development, while also he gains Lapras. Because in Gen 1, you get a Lapras if you battle against in the Surf TM from some random scientist in the background, which kind of is weird because after you save the random scientist, you have to go back and not have a party member, because in your classic Pokemon, when you get an exclusive party member, your party needs to not be full of 6. If that makes any sense in the games, but it's kind of dumb, but great. Anyhow, the point is, battles Giovanni for second dive. This time he learns a little character development. His plan is to do Sipco. And yes, the Sipco is entering the Master Ball. A ball that's like the most powerful item in the game for catchering, out of the 3 being the Pokeball being 1.0, Great Ball being 1.5, and Master Ball and Ultra Ball being 2.0, which when it comes to the crutch rate boost, one is like normal, one's like 50% better, and the other's 20% better. But anyhow, original games aside, that was kind of great. Also, then after that, he goes find the Lapras, and now doing the 4-7 gym. But before that, he finds an old mansion, and he finds notes about Mewtwo. This is going to become later. I will explain when we get to next episode. But anyhow, point is, he does that. Next up, he battles Giovanni while looking for the 8th gym leader. Technically, the 8th gym leader Giovanni. Spoiler alert. But anyhow, the point is, Giovanni battles Red, and if Red defeats him, he will disband Team Rocket, which he does. But anyhow, the point is, he battles with Charizard now, that is fully evolved in the beginning of the first fight, third episode. But anyhow, battles that. They all defeat him with type event with ground. He only has 2 Pokemon, which is kind of a bullshit moment. That kind of makes sense for a weird fight to make it. But instead of his normal 5 party, he selects 2 members of his party that are way stronger, like maxed out, which is kind of a BS moment. But he now defeats Giovanni barely by using his Mega Punch Mega Kick for Charizard. Do that. They battle. Winner is Red. Red wins, gets a badge. Next up, in the next episode, he goes to Victory Road, battles the Elite Four, and our episode officially begins with him battling Blue one last time. Yes, Blue still is the final boss of the original games. He's our champion. Even if in later games, like in Gen 7, I believe the Professor in Gen 7 was the previous champion before Blue, but that's just my headcanon. But the point is, Red versus Blue, and the winner is Red. Red wins. The game's over. Now he's collecting the rest of the Pokedex in our epilogue part of the story for the 4th episode. He does that. Blue gets injured, which kind of makes sense for an adaptation of the games as like a weird thing of a mysterious Pokemon, which is also, he has the 3 legendary birds, Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos. And, oh yeah, you don't exist yet. Sorry, can't say Lugia. Damn it, I said it. But anyhow, point is, basically, the 3 birds got everyone, he thinks. Then there's still Mewtwo, a Pokemon that created from the things from the in the games. If you play the Pokemon Mansion, there are data about looking for Mew, then finding Mewtwo, then creating Mewtwo out of Mew's leftover eyelash, which is an anime thing. I don't know what the actual DNA source in the series. Like, it's one of those things that they never explain, but in the anime they say a freaking eyelash. This kind of balls of scientists with genetics or whatever. Oh god. But yeah, the point is, Mewtwo is our final boss, like in the games. It goes through Ring and Cave, go to the deeper parts of it, battle it, but this time there's a catch. Red gets us. By the way, when he got the flute, he got something special, a Mega Stone, which is from the current game at the time, Pokemon X and Y, and it's not the Mega Charizard you fought from the first trailer when they revealed it. No, Mega Charizard is so special. He needs 2 Mega Evolutions. The one you saw was for Y, but X Charizard is a badass. Yes, Mega Charizard X, the best most famous Mega Evolution in the franchise and best one of the series for like the original XY games, which I don't really like it that much. But anyhow, those badasses started with this anime adaptation, and I say that was a great plot twist that no one saw coming. Great battles Mewtwo, tries everyone, loses Charizard, he goes to Mega, and yes, he got 150 Pokemon. But you didn't get number 150 because that was Mew. And our mini-series ends with Mew going, oh god, I gotta run, sort of bullshit. Maybe to that car, maybe to that truck, under the truck. If you played the original games, there was like an event, the first Pokemon event was looking for a Mew in a truck Easter egg. But anyhow, point is, that's Pokemon Gen 1 / Pokemon Origins anime adaptation. For the anime, it's good, awesome, badass, and it's better than the anime. In my opinion, regular anime at the time. Feel like Journeys improved the anime by realizing Ash is not a good main character and saying time to move on. But anyhow, this was a good start of the badass of Mega Evolution. Hope you like the video. Leave a comment below if you like Pokemon Fire, Red, Blue, Green, or any of Gen 1 stuff. Next time, we're going to talk about Pokemon. I won't say who, but yeah, Michael's going to take over for the next video. Hope you liked the video. Just come and saying bye-bye for now.